need a verbal assist later. It's Sunday and you're on the go.
At 2 o'clock, it's time to slow.
'Cause everybody that you know is watching. The Jeff and Katie Show.
The Katie and Jeff
No,
Show.
the Jeff and Katie Show.
The Katie and Jeff
No,
Show.
the Jeff and Katie Show.
Maybe it's commutable.
It's simply irrefutable.
No matter what, we know that you'll be watching.
The Jeff and Katie Show.
The Katie and Jeff Show.
No, the Jeff and Katie Show.
The Katie and Jeff Show. Commutable.
Refutable.
Disputable.
Delusional.
No matter what, we know that you'll be watching. The Jeff and Katie Show. Math.
We're blurry.
We're beautifully blurry. This is our sort of
Molly's trying
our
to trick it.
filtered look. Hold on.
That's our filtered look. The cheesecake look. Right, yeah.
I try to trick.
People out there, like Tinkerbell, start clapping if you believe that we can be unblurred.
Well, Jeff, they can still hear you if I change the camera real quick. So you talk to them about the day, and I'm just going to do a little thing.
Hello, everybody. I'll talk to you about the day while Katie's doing a little thing. Today is Raise the Curtain at Northern Sky Theater, and we are celebrating the opening of our 2021 season. We've had a bunch of episodes already, starting at 11 o'clock, and now you are tuning in. Way to go, Katie Dahl.
Oh, thanks.
She did the little thing. Katie Dahl, I've been talking while you've been doing the little thing.
Katie Dahl's a genius when it comes to blueprints.
So quick at slipping in those loose lips
That's
quotes and
My lips are
altering them
loose. Yeah.
on the spot.
Right, I know.
I know. That's genius at work.
Yeah, right. I put my own name in there without any effort.
I can't remember who I am sometimes.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I
I always remember who you are.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to call you up when I can't
okay.
remember.
Okay. Good job talking to them while I was doing that.
Good job of talking to the air.
Yeah. Fill in the air.
Fill in the air. So anyway, we're talking about Raise the Curtain, and we're in the middle of this great day. It's truly celebratory. We're actually having a live in-person season since we closed down last March. We did not close down this theater company, but we were not able to do live performances. We have been hard at it for this past year. Katie and I had our first experience together last year over Memorial Day weekend in a virtual way, doing Raise the Curtain, and that's when we first figured out that this was a partnership worth maintaining, and we've been doing so for now. What is this, like 27 episodes?
Yeah,
or
we
something,
do this
right?
all the time. This is like
Yes, yeah.
I saw Jeff during the pandemic more than I saw like anyone.
I know.
Anyone that I wasn't married to.
I know. It's true. And this is the first time since all of those episodes that we've done it without any plexiglass between
I
us, which
know.
is so
This
exciting.
is fun. Every segment I do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I encourage everybody to get vaccinated. I'm just going to say it.
I do too.
Right?
Oh, we both got vaccinated on the same day.
That's true. We
Yeah.
did.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
And
there
so
you go.
did Molly on the same
It was
day.
while we were doing the Jeff and Katie show because we just can't stop.
That's right. That's right.
And they had to come to us.
That's right. I love that idea. They're like, we're the Jeff and Katie show. Boom.
All right.
Boy. Okay.
So at this 2 o'clock episode, what we've been doing in each of our segments is celebrating the upcoming productions of each of our 5 shows that are going to happen in this 2021 season. And this particular episode is going to be all around Whatever Happened to Karl, Janko, which is a world premiere musical that's going to be happening in the park this summer. Boy, the dates, sometime in August through
I
September.
would say it's about August 9th to September 18th.
Somewhere in there?
I guess.
Yeah, August 9th to September. That's very good. Oh, that's interesting, too. You know why that's interesting, Katie Dahl?
No.
End date.
September 18th is a very. Oh, it's we don't usually go that long.
No, we don't.
So exciting.
Yeah, we usually end the weekend before Labor Day. This brings us really 3 weeks past that. We're experimenting a little bit. Do you know why we can experiment, Katie Dahl?
Because we have flush toilets.
Oh, well, that's interesting. I don't know that matters exactly, but it's part of a reason maybe. The bigger reason is the place we're in right now.
Because we have this theater.
Yeah, we have this theater, so we can be doing another show in here while we're out there at the park. So
It's very cool.
we're going to actually open Naked Radio in the Gould on August 23rd. We've never been able to open our fall show that early in the past. So it's exciting.
But that is when the colors start changing. So it's when you should open a fall show.
That's true.
At the end of August.
Oh, that's true.
I think.
So it's called a fall show because it takes place
In the fall. I mean, that's how I've always interpreted it.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. It's not the show that
Fairly
takes
intuitive
the
of you.
fall. I know. Well.
Oh, that takes a fall. The fall show. Oh,
Right.
the fall show, like
the
the fall
fall
guy.
show. Or like there's a lot of pratfalls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where that fall guy comes from.
Right.
The fall guy.
The fall guy.
Yeah, takes the fall.
So
Here we are.
speaking of fall guys,
Segue.
Matt Zembrowski was the writer of our first ever show in this space
I know.
in the Gould Theater.
I know.
And he is the writer of Whatever Happened to Karl Janko. So perhaps without further ado, we ought to
Let's get Matt Zembrowski in the
let's do it.
StreamYard.
Yes, bring him on.
We
Hi,
have to put on our
Matt.
headphones. So
Hello,
we can hear.
everybody.
Oh, hi, Matt.
Hello.
Hi.
Gosh, you sound nice and bold and clear and
Gosh.
Oh,
crisp.
thanks. Well, I hope it sounds better than I look at this point. I've never actually done anything on StreamYard before, so this is kind of fun for me.
Oh, you haven't?
Well,
Nope. So far I'm still us geriatric millennials. I'm only used to the old technology. I'm still getting used to Zoom.
Wow, a geriatric
Right.
millennial.
Matt is very geriatric. He is 8 days older than I am.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, get him a walker.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I'm 9 months older than my wife, and boy, does she let me know that I'm a full year older than her when my birthday comes on.
Ah,
Right. I know those.
right.
That's an important part of the year.
It's big, yeah.
Yeah, when the ages are line up in the way that you want them to.
Right.
Like my cousin Kirsten and I were the same age for 2 months. She insisted we were not the same age, but we were for
Right.
2 months every year. And
Yeah.
that
Was she older or you?
She was older.
Oh, I see.
She didn't like it. I loved it.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
You had caught up to her, and by golly, you were staying there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I totally got that.
Yeah.
So, Matt Zembrowski, we just introduced you as the writer of a brand new world premiere musical at Northern Sky. This is not your first premiere musical at Northern Sky, is it?
It is not. No, I started in 2016. I started way back in like 2009, submitting drafts of shows that should never have been seen. And
Well,
it
that's
wasn't
not true. That's
well,
not true.
shouldn't necessarily have been seen in the condition that they were written. How's that?
Well, anyway, yeah.
That's the nature of a draft.
Yeah,
Oh, totally.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that because I didn't know what the workshop process was, and I
Yeah.
didn't know any of that went into making a show. I just like, well, here's a script, so we should do it, right? No, that's not how it works. But 2016 was my first rodeo, as it were, with Dr. Doctor out in the park.
Yeah. Wonderful show. And
Yeehaw.
yeah. And then Katie just mentioned that you wrote the first ever show for the Gould Theater for for the unveiling of our new theater space. And what show was that, Matt?
That was
Zembrowski?
Dad's season tickets.
Yeah,
And boy,
wasn't
was
that
that an honor. Oh my goodness.
Wasn't it fun?
It was. It was so much fun. I mean, and we were all kind of in it together, figuring out the space, figuring out how the show was going to work. I mean, there was a lot of variables in the 2019 era.
Well, man, talk about variables.
Era.
We didn't know if we didn't have any plan B, so we had to go with plan A, which was the theater had to be open.
Yep.
But it was nip and tuck, baby. I mean,
Yeah, baby. I agree. And we're still looking at the set. This is our backdrop. We have the Dad season tickets set.
it's our front drop.
It's our front.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, right. It's
Yeah.
very it's very nice. So this feels like a very on brand. You don't know, you can't see, but
Yeah.
for us, this is a very on brand visual sort
Yeah,
of
it's
tableau that we've created. Yeah.
Well, and I'd come into the Gould a couple of times during pandemic age, and I'd walk into the theater just to kind of look at the set and go, Oh, the good old days.
Yeah.
The good old days. Which brings us around to talking about whatever happened to Karl Janko.
Yeah, whatever happened to him?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think anybody does or ever will.
Quite possibly.
And yeah, it's a definite mystery.
Mhm.
So, tell us how you decided that you were going to write this particular show, Matt Zembrowski.
Well, it was towards the beginning. I won't even say the beginning. It was in like September or October. I was working on another show for Northern Sky, called Something in the Water, and I hit a wall. I couldn't write anymore because at that stage we still didn't know what audience expectations were going to be, when we were going to get out of this finally, what the world was going to look like, if people were even going to be interested in this kind of show anymore. We had no idea. And so as a creator, I was sitting there just trying to figure out what to do. And I live on a cul-de-sac. And so when I get stuck, I will go out, even if it's 12:30 at night, I will go out and just walk around the cul-de-sac a few times. I've had to warn my neighbors that it's me. They don't have to, call the West Dallas police. But I was out taking a walk and I just looked up and I said, okay, what am I supposed to be doing now? Because I had no idea. I had no idea what I was doing with writing or what the world was going to be like. And so another walk around the block, and suddenly I was like, okay, if theater's going to be coming back anytime soon, it's going to look different. It's probably going to be, involving some form of social distancing, which we were still kind of figuring out what exactly that term even meant at that point.
Right.
So if I was going to do a show that was going to open anytime soon, it would have to, involve actors not coming into contact with another, possibly even on opposite sides of the stage, and maybe even playing their own instruments.
Uh-huh.
And something inside me, I don't remember what it was, reminded me of an article that I had read about a real life Door County missing person several years before. I saved the article, and I think I mentioned this in some sort of interview before, but most of my inspiration for Northern Sky shows happens while I'm waiting for a table at Al Johnson's.
Oh.
And so I had picked up, I can't remember if it was the Resorter Reporter or if it was, I don't remember which newspaper it was, but I found this article about a real life Door County missing persons case. And for some reason, the connection was made. Like maybe I could tell this story kind of with people telling their recollections of this missing person.
Uh-huh.
And so they wouldn't actually have to come into contact with each other.
Uh-huh.
And so I formulated that a little bit. This is right about the time that Katie and I were doing Nerd Night. And I mentioned to you as I was, heading home after Nerd Night, saying, I have this crazy idea. It might be a Plan B show. What do you think? And you basically said, do it. We don't know what the world's going to be like, but let's have something ready just in case.
Yeah. And so there we are. And we've now done a number of readings of your show, all of which have been over Zoom.
Over Zoom.
Yep, that's all that's been available to us. We're going to do another one this week.
Yeah.
I think on maybe Thursday or something.
I think it's Thursday, yeah.
Yeah. And that'll give us an opportunity to see what rewrites you've made since the last draft, which is
pretty significant, actually.
I don't doubt it. It's a part of the process that I think a lot of people find kind of fascinating, And at Northern Sky, because it's all we do, we've made people a part of that process by inviting them in to hear some of the initial readings sometimes, and some of the workshop experiences. And we haven't really had that kind of an opportunity either. I mean, we could invite people into Zoom, but it's not quite the same thing because you can't really present the material as fully as you would like to because of all of the delay with music, right?
Right. Yep.
So, in some ways, this piece, when we finally get together and are able to rehearse it in person, I think is going to liberate you in a lot of ways to allow you to kind of hear it in a way that you haven't been able to yet, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really great. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so far you described it at one point as being kind of like a podcast musical.
That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah,
it really does.
And so far it's felt like that because all we've been able to do is do it over computer.
Yeah.
So it'll be very strange to hear it all in person, like, oh, there's actual real interactions right now.
Yeah. Well, it again, like I was saying on one of our earlier segments when we were talking about tongue in cheek, that show was written by Fred Alley to to be like a radio program, right?
Yeah.
But he meant for it to be performed live in front of an audience. So it was like the Prairie Home Companion, which is basically broadcast over radio, but has a live audience as well.
Right. Yep.
And I think that's the flavor of Karl Janko in a way. That it is an oral story. And I think that anybody who would just be listening to it would have that satisfaction as well.
I hope so.
Yeah.
We all hope so.
Yeah, of course. So do we want to just talk a little bit about the song that you're going to do?
Sure. So this is the first song that I wrote for it. I don't know how other writers do it. Katie, you can maybe add in on this, but I always write chronologically. I very, very rarely ever write a song out of sequence because I need to be in the moment of the scene in order to feel what all the characters are feeling to accurately make the lyrics make sense. So this is the first song that I wrote, and I think it's the only one that's actually made it every draft so far because it's the title song. It's called Whatever Happened to Karl Janko. I tried to give it a flavor of mystery. I was inspired growing up by Unsolved Mysteries. I don't know how many people out there watching remember that show. But I would watch that. My grandmother would be making dinner and I'd be downstairs keeping her company and keeping one ear on whatever's happening on Unsolved Mysteries. And so I had that sort of odd chord progression in my head as I was writing this song. I don't know how successful I was because it's taken on a life of its own, but that's sort of where the inspiration came from.
Oh, cool. Well, Matt's going to take it away with the opening number from Whatever Happened to Karl Janko.
Yay.
And I'm switching sound apparatuses right now, so I hope that you can hear me as well as I can hear myself.
Yeah, it sounds
good job,
Matt.
millennial.
Yeah, right? Oh, no, my iPod shut up. There we go. All right. Every place has its secrets, things that folks don't like to share. Every town has dirty laundry, dig too deep, you'd best beware. Every place has its gossip, he said this and she said that. Every town has its rumors, sometimes fiction, sometimes fact. It may start out as a whisper, soon enough that whisper grows. You won't read it in the papers, yet somehow the whole world knows. Every place has its mysteries, some are too bizarre to be true. So if you're looking for a story, boy, we've got a doozy for you. Whatever happened to Karl Janko? Whatever happened all those years ago? Whatever happened to Karl Janko? I wonder if we'll ever know.
Ooh. The question has been raised. Yeah, that's
Yay.
great, Matt. Very
Thank you.
fun. Let's see. Let's talk a little bit about who's going to be in this and what that means to you.
Oh boy, please do. The great thing, and I think you mentioned this when you were talking about tongue in cheek as well, is the real pleasure and luxury of being able to write for the performers that you want to write for. And so, I mean, we were so lucky with Dr. Doctor to basically have everybody as our first choice in the show. And that's really kind of been the case with this one as well. Again, when I was conceiving this in the first place, I figured it probably had to consist of mainly actors that were in the same region in case we didn't have, the funds to house everybody,
Right.
And so I was trying to think of characters that would sort of, who would I love to see Jeff Herbst play, and who would I love to see Doug Manchesky play? And so the characters kind of sprang forth that way. It's funny to think that your character, Jeff, of the mysterious host, didn't even exist in the first couple of drafts. It wasn't until somebody introduced me to Keith Morrison, who I didn't know, but he's the host of Dateline, who's another sort of unsolved mystery type show. and he had this real dramatic flair about him. He was very tall, and I thought, oh my goodness, I have to write Jeff Herbst a narrator part, because that's the only way that this show is going to be fun for me.
Well, and surely you noticed that Jeff plays a mysterious host on the Jeff and Katie show. I
Yeah.
mean,
Very,
that's
just
very
his
mysterious.
role, yes.
Laced with mystery. It's all in the blue shirt.
Yes. Yes.
So writing with your voice in my head has been so great, because your voice has been in my head either as actor, idol, person who intimidates the heck out of me, and person who will make my dreams come true. You know, your voice has been so many different incarnations in my head. So to finally be able to write a show for you that you can act in has been such a joy.
Well, I apologize for the the omnipresence of my voice.
Oh, you know.
I mean, if you're gonna have a voice be everywhere, it's like that's
Right.
a good one.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Sure beats someone like, Austin Pendleton or somebody,
So you have Doug Manchesky, and you name me, and then who else
Yep.
is in that cast?
This is it's such a pleasure to finally be able to have a chance to write a part for Larissa Granberry.
Oh, yeah.
I saw her a couple years ago in a workshop of something, and then finally in Derrieres, and I'm like, oh my goodness, there is just talent coming out of everywhere in Larissa, and to be able to finally be able to put words into my computer that I knew that Larissa was going to say and sing. It's been so great. And she's so giving and so wonderful and helpful in a collaborative way. I've texted her stuff. I have this idea. What do you think? And she'll give her honest opinion, which is just fabulous, especially since we haven't really had the same workshop process for this show that we have in the past, to be able to communicate directly with the performers about stuff that that they think is working or not working is a great luxury.
Right, absolutely. And the other two people?
We get to see Doc Heidi in another show, which makes every time I see Doc on stage, it just fills my soul. He's just and we've become really good friends over the years, especially since Doctor. And Doc is another person that if you've ever had a chance to actually speak to him, he has this loving, nurturing way of telling you just how much better you could be. And he has done that on a number of I've told him, I said, this is a work in progress, so if you think something isn't working, please, you've been down this road way more than I have, so please tell me. So he's actually one of the few people that I interacted with in person during pandemic times. I was able to get up and visit Doc for a while, and we chatted about the show quite a bit, and he had some great things to suggest.
Oh, fantastic.
And then last, but absolutely 100,000% not least, I get the unparalleled joy of writing songs and a character for Karen Maul.
Oh, right.
And who is she?
Karen Maul goes way back to the not the earliest days, but definitely very early days of American Folklore Theater and Northern Sky. She made it to the company a couple years before I started. I think 93 was her first season.
92.
Okay. And well, there you go. See, I lose the nerd night round this time. But Karen has another one. Like Katie can relate to this. I have countless cassettes of old AFT shows, and Karen was always on some of my favorites. And we became friends, very strangely enough, because of Zoom, because of the current world that we're in. We did a couple of play readings of older AFT scripts. And finally, I got up the courage as a longtime fan to say, hey, I've always admired you, and I think you're great, and I would just like to talk to you. And she, she's a real person, and she's so sweet, and she's been very helpful with helping me craft this role as well. Yeah. Again, not afraid to give me feedback, and really just kind of raising the bar, because every time I think about the fact that I get to write a song or two for Karen Maul, I'm like, nah, this song's crap. I can do better. And a couple times, Karen has said, oh, this is a good song, and I can read through text message that it's not a good song. We can do better. If we're going to make this happen, we're going to do better.
Oh, that's funny. And then in addition to those wonderful cast members, you have a big assist coming in two directions from the Rohde sisters. Can you talk a
Absolutely.
little bit about that?
Sure. Well, Molly has just sort of been my guide throughout every show that I've worked on at Northern Sky,
Yeah.
and another sort of figure in my life that at one time just intimidated the heck out of me, and in some ways still does, but it intimidates me in a way that makes me want to do things even better. Like everybody at Northern Sky just helps raise our individual bars. And Molly has done that since the beginning. And Molly is kind of a night owl like me. So occasionally I will finish something, a song or a draft of a script or a lyric at 12:30 or 1 a.m. And I'll send it to her thinking that she'll get it the next day. And then she'll respond like, "Oh, this is pretty good. You want to talk about it?" So the number of pandemic related, 2 a.m. phone calls that Molly and I have had about this show, I can't even count anymore.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Molly, I'm the opposite. I'm such an early bird, early to bed, early to rise, and Molly always texts me at like 8:45. Like, "Are you in bed yet? Can I talk to you before you go to bed?"
know,
like,
right?
Barely.
Right.
I was going to ask you, Katie, when is your writing time? I've never been able to ask.
Anytime that I can, but definitely not after 6 o'clock. My brain ceases to function.
Oh, wow.
I mean, ideally, if I didn't have a child and a dog who need me early, I would ideally write from like 5 to 8 or something.
Wow.
That's when my brain is cleanest.
Crazy. Yeah, I'm completely the opposite. If everybody is usually in bed, my wife and my daughter are usually in bed by 11. And so that's when I go downstairs and I start writing, usually from like 11:30 till about 1:30 or 2.
That's really interesting.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Matt Zembrowski, I thought you would appreciate this. You should talk about Alyssa.
Yeah, Alyssa.
Oh,
too.
absolutely. I'm sorry. Yes, Alyssa's going to be. She's going to be playing piano, and she's going to be helping to wrangle all of these arrangements together. Pretty much like what she did for Dad Season Tickets.
Yeah.
Alyssa really kind of. People don't realize what all goes into a show, but I was a new father when we were working on putting Dad Season Tickets together, and we just hit a point where we realized that I didn't have time or the mental capacity to do everything, and we started handing over my very simple songs over to Alyssa, and she turned them into the wonderful arrangements that you heard with the band. And she's going to be doing something similar with Karl Janko. She's going to take, my songs, such as they are, and translate them for Doc and Karen, who can both play guitar and various other stringed instruments, and her fabulous keyboard skills. Yeah. So there's a lot of roadie all over this show.
Yeah, that's great.
That's so great.
Really
oh,
great.
yeah.
Now, Matt, I thought that you would appreciate. So the marketplace. First, I would say the marketplace has two. You'll definitely appreciate these two. Whatever happened to Karl Janko themed packages on it.
Yes.
Do you know about them, Matt?
I was given a little teaser, but I think you should probably expound on that.
Okay, so there are two. The first one is the disguise package, and this contains a cape from O'Mara's Irish House, which I covet, and sunglasses, and maybe a hat, and mystery novels from Door County. They're set in Door County, so you can go and be in disguise and read your novel, which sounds so nice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then the second one is where would Karl Janko have possibly disappeared to? And
Or
the
from.
answer, or from.
Last place he was seen.
And the answer is any number of delicious establishments.
Yeah.
And so there are gift certificates to a lot of different cool places like Husby's and the Creamery and great things. And then there's a tour on the Door County Trolleys Murder and Mayhem tour.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
So, and lastly, I wanted to say, because Matt, I thought that you would appreciate this. There is a Packer package.
Oh!
I know. There's a Packer package, and this is a ball.
Wow.
I don't know if you know. This is a football, Matt.
Oh, I've heard of those.
Yeah. It's shaped kind of like an ovoid thing. And
and it communicates with space, right?
It
Yes.
communicates with space. That's exactly right. And this is signed by the entire 2020 Packers team.
Holy cow.
So Holly Feldman is so mean. Do you know what she did?
I
She
don't.
came in here and said, "Katie, look at this cool football. Look, here's Aaron Rodgers' signature." And I was like, wow. And then she said, "Do you think that's the last Packers football Aaron Rodgers will have signed?"
No.
Like,
That
Holly.
naughty Holly.
That's so mean. So, anyway, this is very cool. And oh, look, Sean Menenga. That is the last. That is the last Packers football that Sean Menenga will have signed. That's for sure. Matt LaFleur. Oh, it's very exciting.
There we go.
MVS. Maurice Drayton. He's now the new special teams coach. Okay, so okay, team.
Katie and I could do a whole segment on this.
We could do a whole thing.
Yeah, no kidding.
I know
man.
that's what you all want. So we should tell them a little bit about what's our status of the math, shouldn't we? Now that we're talking about the.
Yeah. This particular day is a fundraiser for us.
Yeah.
Always has been our kickoff event, Raise the Curtain. Normally we would be doing this in person, and we couldn't quite make that decision when we had to get all of the details lined up for this day. So we're doing it virtually, obviously, and people have been responding like crazy. And what that means is when we set out to do this day, we thought, let's see if we can raise $60,000. Before we even came on for the first Jeff and Katie segment at 11 o'clock, we already had 35 of those $60,000.
So amazing. 35,000.
Yeah, 35,000 of those 60,000. Yeah, just $35. Way to go, team. Yeah. So already in the math department, we were over halfway there. Then we received a generous matching challenge from Werner and Sue Krause, and that was a $10,000. And we last segment knew that we were 5,000, and I think we're closing in on that baby. And so we just encourage you to continue to give so we can reach that $60,000.
Yeah,
goal.
and try to get that, Matt. We would love to get the full extent of that Werner and Sue Krause match of $10,000. So keep it up.
That's the reason to
you
keep.
generous, kind people.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
We can't tell you how much.
Yeah.
So where are we at in time on this segment, you guys?
Well, it's about time to be done.
Well,
But
fantastic.
yeah.
Well,
Cool.
Matt Zembrowski, thank you for joining us on the Jeff and Katie show.
Oh, of course.
Whatever happened to Karl Janko episode.
Yeah.
You were the
Yay.
perfect person to have on. Did you know that?
I am so glad to hear that. The only one better would be Karl Janko himself, and who knows where he
Right,
is.
we
Nobody
can't. We
knows.
tried to get a hold of him, and it didn't
Right.
work. Yeah,
He's apparently hanging out at Husby's or something.
that's right.
Hey, wouldn't that be something?
It would be something. All right. Or
Yeah, great
Al
wings.
Johnson. Maybe he's at Al Johnson's learning how to write the next Northern
There we
Sky
go.
musical.
Oh, right. That is where the inspiration
He's
lies.
waiting for his
or
table,
the
right?
cul-de-sac.
He's like
right.
reading about himself and
I
then
hope he's
realizing.
not in my cul-de-sac. That's weird.
That's
That's where the two
You're like,
places where the
oh, you
inspiration
thought it was
comes
just your
from.
good doppelganger on the other side of that cul-de-sac.
Maybe, you know.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
1 o'clock this morning, I'll find out for sure.
That's
All
right.
Sounds good,
Thanks,
Matt. Thanks, Matt. Bye now.
bet.
See ya.
Well, Katie Dahl,
All right. We're
these
gonna.
folks have wasted another perfectly good half hour of their time.
Oh,
Look, I got tangled up in my earphones, which reminded me that I can take them off now.
that's right. We can just
Which is
talk to
very
you in
good.
the air. Ooh.
The Jeff and Katie Show.
The Katie and Jeff
no,
Show.
the Jeff and Katie Show.
The Katie and Jeff Show. Commutable.
Refutable.
Disputable.
Delusional. No matter what, we know that you'll be watching. The Jeff and Katie Show. Math.
See you at 3 for the Bake Off.
Bye.